Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Locker Room Podcast. I hope everyone has had a great week so far and you're excited to listen to a really great episode. Today I am joined by senior men's golfer Bo Orecchio. He was freshman of the year his first year. He's been an all-conference athlete since competing at West Lib, and he is just really passionate about golf, and it'll be a really exciting episode for you to listen to, so I hope you guys enjoy. All right, well, thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, so, typically we got to start in the beginning. So go ahead, just tell me where you're from, and then we got to get into how you started playing golf.
So I'm from New Concord, Ohio, about an hour from here. I started playing golf when I was probably 2 or 3. My dad's been the coach for our high school for 20 plus years now.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of just grew up on the golf course with him, whether it was going to his matches and stuff like that or practices. So I was always playing from a young age, and then it just kind of stuck the whole time, and now I'm still playing 20 years later, so
yeah,
it's exciting.
That's so awesome. So whenever you started, did you have the little baby golf clubs?
Yeah, and then once I was old enough to actually be able to walk around and do stuff, I had a normal little golf club, just about probably this big.
That's so funny. So just growing up around it with your family, have you just always loved it and always knew that's something that you enjoyed spending your time doing?
Yeah, so my dad was big on golf. He never really played golf through his his athletic career, but when he was the coach, I was always playing. I always enjoyed it, and a lot of my friends from home and high school and stuff like that all played golf, and even the ones that didn't play golf, like football and stuff, now they like golf. So it's something that I've always been good at, and it's now they're my friends that don't really play. They always ask me to go play with them, so it's fun.
That's kind of fun too, that you grew up playing it, but I feel like golf is something that almost as you retire from other sports, that's what you turn to.
Yeah, that's what a lot of you'll see a lot of athletes and stuff like Tom Brady and all those guys, they all play golf now, and baseball players. So it's something that you'll always have. Even if you're old, you can still play it. And you're not going to pick up a football when you're 50 years old and go play in the backyard with your buddies. So.
Yeah, that's so true. So did you play any other sports growing up?
So I played baseball until high school, and then I played basketball all throughout high school as well.
Okay, so then whenever you were, in high school and you were thinking about college, trying to make decisions, how did you, this is I guess kind of a two-part question, how did you decide that you wanted to continue and play golf in college, and then how did you ultimately decide on West Liberty?
So I knew that I had the talent to play golf in college, probably my sophomore year in high school. And from there, I really focused on just golf. Basketball was kind of just conditioning stuff and the winter time for me, just to kind of stay in shape. But I enjoyed playing basketball through high school. But I really picked West Lib because it was close to home, to where it felt like I wasn't too close, and I could still get away from family, but also be an hour away and come back and visit. And I also had a teammate that was a year ahead of me that came to West Lib to play golf as well.
Okay, so kind of the perfect balance and everything. I also feel like it always helps whenever you do have somebody that you already know that either has gone somewhere or is already there. It kind of helps with the comfort of it all and the familiarity.
Yeah, and I came up for a visit with him on a weekend and got to kind of meet all of the guys that would be on the team and all that stuff. So it was pretty awesome to be able to come up and do that.
Yeah, so that just kind of helped seal your decision to come here.
Yeah, and I in golf there's a lot of there's usually a lot of players on teams, and West Lib kind of had a smaller team, which kind of I liked better because you didn't have to necessarily beat out everybody every week to make the lineup and play in these tournaments.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So we just got to kind of talk about what it's like as a college golfer. So you're a senior now, but looking back, how was that transition going from high school into your freshman year and kind of seeing what the whole college athletics world was like from the beginning?
Yeah, so my freshman year was obviously COVID, so I didn't get to have a fall semester. So we just had a spring semester, which was fine, but we couldn't really practice or anything in the fall. But my sophomore year was when I really got the full grasp of it and realized how tough it actually is to be a college golfer, because you're golfing in the fall, obviously, and then you're lifting, conditioning, everything in the winter, and then back in the spring for another season. So, and missing all of our tournaments are through the week, so you're always missing class. It's very, very tough.
So you have to really be on top of like your time management, so
Yes.
you have everything ready to go.
Online classes are a blessing for golfers.
That would definitely make it so much easier, so you can
Yes.
kind of like do stuff as
Mhm.
you're on the road. All right, so we got to talk about what your season does look like, because it is a lot, like what you just said. So when you start in the fall, what does your season look like in the fall whenever you start every year?
So we'll show up to school about a week early, and we'll have qualifying for the first week there, and then after that the lineup is set, and it's pretty much tournament after tournament after tournament till like the end of October.
Yeah.
So every week, maybe 2 times a week, you're leaving for a tournament every single day.
So then what season, is it fall or spring when you have like your conference tournament?
So we have ours in the fall, but a
Okay.
lot of others have theirs in the spring.
Okay, so do you have your conference tournament in the fall, and then is it like the NCAA regional, those things in the spring?
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly
Okay.
like that.
Okay, so that makes sense. So in the fall, do you kind of feel like you're working towards the conference championship? Or do you feel like you're always like thinking spring season in mind for like NCAAs?
Yeah, so we always think up until conference is over, which we usually have a tournament or two after conference.
Mm-hmm.
We're wanting to win conference, obviously.
Yeah.
But also making sure that we're not putting ourselves in a bad place regional ranking wise to be behind the ball when it comes to the spring semester.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so talking about getting ready for regionals, whenever you're done with conference in the fall, what does that time from like end of fall to beginning of spring season look like?
So usually we'll get our rankings at the end of the season in the fall, so we'll know where we're at and what we kind of have to do for the spring wise, and that kind of helps us plan out our schedule for where we need to go and what teams we need to see, so we know that we need to beat them at those tournaments.
Okay, so whenever you're looking, I feel like it's kind of like a two-part, I guess, competitive part with golf,
Mhm.
because one, you're golfing like individually, but then you're also golfing as a team.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you focus on whenever you get like those rankings? Do you really focus on like, okay, team wise, how can we maybe either like shift our lineup, or is it more individual game, or is it like a combination of both?
So personally, when I think about it, is I don't really care where individually I'm ranked. I just would rather see the team be in a spot, because obviously going to regionals as a team is priority number one.
Yeah.
But also to be in a good spot individually, where if something doesn't work out with the team, you can be in that spot and be able to go to regionals individually.
That makes sense. That's awesome. And West Liberty's hosting regionals this
Yes,
year, right?
yeah, we do.
So whenever it comes to playing, what is like West Liberty's home course?
We'll play Jones and Palmer. Both of
Okay.
those we'll play. So we'll play the regional at Jones, and our home tournament in the spring also at Palmer.
Nice. Do you have like a preference for which place you'd rather play around here?
Palmer's more fun, open. You can make more birdies, and Jones is a little more challenging. But I've always heard and can now say after 4 years that if you can play at Ogilvy, you can play anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Is it?
Yeah.
I live on Palmer,
Okay.
but I'm not really a golfer. I think I've only gone golfing once there. But I walk around and it's definitely very like hilly,
Mm-hmm.
a lot going on. So I'm sure it is tough. As far as your season goes, where do you guys travel to play?
So we'll travel to Ohio. That's where our conference tournament's at. And then we traveled to Erie last semester, and then kind of downstate West Virginia, just kind of around that area, PA, Ohio, West Virginia usually.
So whenever you're maybe out of season or in the summer, or just like on your own, has there been any like really cool place that you've traveled to golf at?
Yeah, I lived in Charlotte this summer, so I got
Okay.
to play at Lake Norman. There's a golf course out there. It's Trump National Golf Course. It was super cool. It's right on the lake, so there's a lot of holes on the lake. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. As far as training goes, so I mean, you play in the fall and you play in the spring. What do you do in the winter whenever it's snowing and you can't necessarily just go play around with golf?
So we have a golf room upstairs, and we use that to get our practice in. There's nets and stuff in there, and there's a simulator where it'll show you where you hit it on the iPad when we use that. So
That's really cool. Do you feel like that's really helpful?
yeah, it keeps us in shape, and it keeps our games in good spots to where when we start the spring semester, we're not trying to figure out how we're hitting it. We know that we've practiced it in upstairs, so we know that everything that's going to be going on really.
Yeah, so I feel like in golf, again, I'm not a golfer, but I feel like sometimes people get really frustrated and say they have like a love-hate relationship with it. How is that for you? And are there times that you get really frustrated? And then if you're golfing in a tournament or like with the team, how do you kind of like overcome that if you maybe start off not the best or if a shot's really crazy or something like that?
Mm-hmm. So golf is very mentally demanding as well as physically demanding, I guess, as well. A lot of bad things can happen for no reason.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you could hit in the middle of the fairway and it could hit something and be lost. So it's definitely challenging mentally wise. Like, you need to make sure that you're mentally tough and you can't let one bad shot, like, derail your whole round.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you maybe had somebody that you were trying to, like, encourage to start golfing, or maybe somebody that just, like, they get frustrated more than not, what would you kind of say to them as advice for enjoying the game and not getting so worked up?
I would tell them that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how they really play as long as they have fun, because they're not really playing for anything.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of I look forward to as I graduate and will be done with competitive golf for good, is having relaxing golf rounds where it doesn't really matter what I shoot. So
do you think you'll be able to make that transition like easily from going from like, okay, this is competitive, like I have to be so serious all the time, to being able to just like go out and have fun?
I think it'll be pretty easy. I'm very competitive myself, so
Yeah.
I probably won't take any beating lightly once I graduate either, but I think that it'll be easy to go out and just enjoy it with friends and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you think that you'll golf like forever?
Yeah.
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 No, that's awesome. That's awesome that it's a sport that like you're able to do that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Do you have any like most memorable moment from golfing, or like a most memorable shot or anything like that comes to mind?
Yeah, so this year at conference, I had a hole-in-one on a like 240 yard par 3, and
That's insane.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Was that your only
That was my
time you've ever
first
done
one.
that?
Yeah, it was my first hole-in-one.
That is so awesome, and especially like at conference.
Yeah, it was like one of the coolest holes too. Like really long, bunch of water everywhere, and I made a hole-in-one. It was pretty sweet.
What was like your reaction? Like, did you believe it at first, or did you have to like get all the way up and be like, oh my gosh, like that actually was a hole-in-one?
So like we were sitting into the sun, like we were hitting into the sun, and we couldn't really tell, and I thought it might have, but I was like, no way.
Yeah.
And my buddy on the team also thought it did, and then our friend shot it with his rangefinder, and he was like, no, it looks like it's behind it. And somebody came up from like near the green and was like, it went in, and we were like, no way.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I bet. That's awesome too, like especially like senior year
Mm-hmm.
conference. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
pretty
That's
sweet.
really special. So I was talking about this with somebody recently, and we were talking about how like at certain like tournaments or certain like times that you're playing, how you normally are like matched up, or you're with people that are on other teams.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like?
So it's super cool because the golf, the Mountain East, all the golf teams there, everybody's pretty close knit with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's friends with everybody there. There's no beef that some other teams might have, like you could say football or basketball or something. Everybody just kind of gets along with everybody. So usually you're always playing with somebody you know or you're somewhat friends with. So it's very easygoing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not competitive when you're sitting there talking to somebody walking down the fairway, but every team wants to win.
Yeah. So do you feel like you've kind of, just from like seeing the same faces over and over, like almost in a way like been able to make friends with just different people that you're seeing?
Yeah, so we even have like a group chat of everybody from every team is like in a group chat.
That's so cool.
So like we all like talk and stuff, but yeah, I have made multiple friends from other schools and it's super cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. Do you have any other like golf stories or just like anything else about golf before we kind of get into some of the other things?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, well that was awesome. So like we said a little bit ago, you're a senior, so you're
Mhm.
graduating at the end of the semester.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So what is your major?
Marketing.
Okay. Why did you think that that's what you wanted to get into?
So I originally wanted to do like sports broadcasting. That was kind of what I wanted to do when I came, and then I realized that I would like to do sales somewhere along the route, probably my sophomore junior year. So I was in marketing because I could work for both, and then I've always enjoyed talking to people. I like to talk to anybody. I can make friends with anybody. So I thought that the sales route would be the best route for me to go down. So that's what I'm pursuing.
Yeah, nice. So do you have any plans lined up for graduation, or still kind of waiting to see?
Yeah, I actually have sales job in Pittsburgh lined up for when I graduate.
Okay, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's a good location, a little bit further away from
Mhm.
here, still close to home.
Yeah,
so.
definitely.
Yeah, that's so
I'm
exciting. So during your time at West Liberty, has there been anything else on campus that you've been involved in, or any other, I guess just memories or things that stick out, looking back at your time here?
Yeah, so every year we play the intramural football. As a golf team, we'll play the intramural football thing.
Oh, that's fun.
So we lost last year, sadly, in the championship, but this year we won. So it was pretty cool having all the guys. We got T-shirts and stuff, and it was just fun.
That's so fun. So during the school year, if you have a break from school or a break from golf, what would someone find you doing?
So in the fall, it would look like hanging out with the guys, watching football, just doing a lot of nothing. Maybe golfing later in the day or something.
Yeah.
In the winter, it's just kind of class, go home, chill out, relax, just kind of get the mental break from golf you need until the season starts up in the spring.
Nice. So what in the summer, whenever you're away from school and away from golf, what do you like to do then?
So usually every summer I've been to college, I've worked and done something. So usually work and just golf as much as possible, just to make sure you're staying in shape for when season comes around, but also having fun with your friends from home and stuff like that.
Yeah, nice. All right, well, this is one of my favorite parts of the podcast, and it's when we do rapid fire questions. And so I tried to think of some good ones that are all golf related. So I'll ask you the question. You just gotta think of whatever your answer is. First thing you think of, you gotta say it. So what would your dream golf destination be?
Pebble Beach.
All right. If you could have, this could be anybody in the world, doesn't have to be somebody that you know, but your dream golf partner.
Very cliche, but Tiger Woods.
All right. So if you could, never mind, I already asked that one. Do you have any golfing superstitions?
No.
No?
None.
Nothing?
No.
What are your ideal golfing conditions? The perfect golf day?
70 and sunny, no wind.
Nice. And then if there was, so whenever you said your dream destination, was that a specific course or a specific city?
Course.
Okay. If you could golf in any other major city or country, where would that be?
England.
Okay.
To see the courses over there are really cool,
Yeah.
tall grass and stuff and a lot of wind and weather, so it'd be a cool experience.
Okay, last one. Who on your team would win if you went out and you played a round of mini golf?
I want to say myself, but I'll take myself out of it. I'll say Brandon.
Okay. All right, so then this is our last question. This is what I close every single episode with. And so, especially as a senior, I think this is a great question. So you can kind of look back and think about everything. But if you could go back in time to your freshman year move-in day, what would you want to tell yourself then based off of just what you've learned and what you know now?
I would say do as many extracurricular activities as possible on campus, because that's how I've made a lot of friends that I don't have, that I have off of the golf team.
Yeah.
So I think that I would tell myself to do that more often, because I've done a decent amount, but I would say to do that more often because you'll meet so many new people And that's the advice I would give to anybody that's new on campus, was to do as many activities as possible and just meet as many new people as
Yeah.
you can.
No, that's so good. All right. Well, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. All right, everyone. We have another busy weekend in Hilltopper Athletics. Our softball team is home tonight for, I believe, their first home games of the season. Tomorrow, we are hosting the NCAA wrestling tournament here at the ASRC. Also, our basketball teams, both men's and women's, have their final regular season game tomorrow at Wheeling University, and our baseball team is on the road playing Pitt Johnstown. On Sunday, our acrobatics and tumbling team is home against Hawaii Pacific, and then our baseball and softball teams are both on the road again. As always, make sure that you follow WLU Athletics on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and then you also follow the Locker Room Podcast on Instagram and subscribe to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you don't miss any of our exciting updates and announcements. And then make sure you are back to join us next Friday when I'm here to talk with senior women's basketball player Corinne Thomas.